Time now for business. Let's say hello to Kate Moody.
Hi, Francois.
The clock's not yet been started on Brexit, but you have a guest who's waiting for the moment.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be talking to Martin Shanahan in just a moment. He's a representative from Ireland. Ireland, of course, Britain's neighbour, which stands to benefit from the Brexit as international corporations consider moving their European headquarters out of London once the UK does leave the EU. Now, with one of the lowest corporate tax rates in the European Union, Ireland is a magnet for business, and one of the people responsible for attracting that business is our guest, Martin Shanahan. You're the chief executive of IDA Ireland. That's the agency that's responsible for developing foreign direct investment in Ireland. Tell us, first of all, have you seen a concrete increase in inquiries since the Brexit vote in June? What kind of interest are we talking about?
Yes, we've very much seen an increase in activity, not just in our London and Dublin offices, but right across the globe. Obviously, this has impact on North American investors and Asian investors as they now look at their structures and how they will structure themselves in Europe in a post-Brexit world. Obviously, at this point, we don't know exactly what Brexit means. We don't know when Article 50 may be invoked by the UK. We don't know the timeline for the negotiations around Brexit. We don't know what a new UK-EU trade deal might look like. So there's a lot of uncertainty. And investors don't like uncertainty. And they are looking, I think, at all of their options at the moment. And Ireland is definitely one of those options.
And one of the other options that we are hearing talking about anyway is Paris. It's one of the cities lobbying for that business. And today, actually, French financial regulators said that they would try and help simplify the process for financial firms that might move here by offering to deal with their files in English, for example. That's a big thing for people who live in Paris. When you hear things like that, what would you say to prospective investors to try and sell Dublin? What does it have that, for example, Paris or Frankfurt don't?
So it's no surprise to me, clearly, that a lot of other jurisdictions will see this as an opportunity for business. I and my team are out every day seeking business for Ireland, and there is a lot of competition, not just from within the European Union, but across the globe. From an Ireland perspective, I suppose we will be relying on our offering of the track record. Ireland is home to a large amount of foreign direct investment, and particularly in the financial services sector. The talent availability, not just Irish talent, but also European talent. The fact we're English speaking, I think, gives us a significant advantage, and the close cultural and physical proximity to the UK. Ireland is probably the closest thing to the UK outside of the UK. So I think all of those things will play in Ireland's favour.
Martin, obviously you just expressed it. The opportunity is there for Ireland, but there's a lot of people in Dublin who are very wary of Brexit. Is Brexit a good news story or a bad news story?
Well, I think Ireland was very clear in the run-up to the referendum in the UK. Our preference by far was that the UK would remain part of the European Union. We believe that was best for Ireland, best for the UK, and indeed best for Europe.
Why is it best for Ireland?
Obviously, the UK is our nearest neighbour. We share a land border with the UK. They're a significant trading partner. They have been our closest political ally on many enterprise-related issues within the European Union. And for all of those reasons, including the mobility between the two countries and the long history and cultural affinity that I've already spoken of. So we would have believed that the UK within Europe was best, as I said, for Europe, for the UK, and indeed for Ireland. But we respect the wishes of the British people. They have voted on it, and the UK Prime Minister has said Brexit means Brexit. What we now need to understand is what Brexit actually means.
And as it stands, are you seeing a negative impact on Ireland at all? Is there a downside?
No, I don't think we. I think the fallout from the referendum in terms of the currency fluctuations and the impact on the market immediately after the referendum vote certainly had an impact on some Irish companies. Our indigenous Irish companies are large exporters to the UK, so currency fluctuations don't help. But there is also obviously the other side of the equation where we have seen much more interest from both multinational companies based in the UK and UK companies that will now need to seek access potentially to the European market.
Now, Dublin has been very firmly in the international spotlight recently because of this European Commission ruling about Apple's tax arrangements in Ireland. It was ordered to pay 13 billion euros in back taxes. Surely that kind of a ruling will discourage companies who are considering setting up operations there?
No, I don't believe so. And certainly we have no evidence of that. Actually, quite to the contrary, we've seen significant investments even in recent weeks post the Commission decision. Ireland clearly fundamentally disagrees with the Commission decision in relation to the Apple ruling. We believe that the decision is flawed. Ireland has decided to appeal that decision now to the European courts. Apple has also indicated that it will appeal this decision. And we've a long way to run, I think, in this. We've had a 3-year investigatory process, and now we're going to have potentially the same length of time in a judicial process. So it's back in a process yet again.
And just very briefly, the 12.5% corporate tax rate has been one of the things that does attract foreign business in Ireland. Is that going to change? Is there any chance that that might be affected by this ruling?
There's absolutely no impact on the 12.5% tax rate. There's no impact on our tax regime. The Commission itself has said that their decision does not call that into question. And important to say that tax is not the only reason that companies locate in Ireland.
Martin Shanahan of IDA Ireland, thank you so much for joining us here on France 24. Let's move on and take a look at how the markets have been trading this Wednesday. Europe rallied to close higher. CAC 40 and DAX leading with gains of about 0.75% each. The DAX in particular was boosted by a rebound in Deutsche Bank's shares. Lenders seeing a 2% boost after plummeting earlier this week as it continues to deny reports that it's seeking government help on a massive fine in the US. Wall Street is trading slightly lower as investors tune in to testimony from top Federal Reserve officials about the health of America's banks. Oil prices have turned slightly as top producers begin informal talks in Algeria about possibly capping their output. You can see international Brent trading up there about 3% a short time ago. US WTI crude up a little less than that. The 14 members of OPEC, as well as rival producer Russia, are all involved in those discussions. Most have downplayed expectations for a deal to freeze output, although it is seen as increasingly likely at the cartel's formal meeting in November. Now, earlier, we spoke to Craig Earlham, senior market analyst at Owanda in London, about where crude prices will go from here.
I think we've found the fair value for oil at this moment in time, around that in Brent crude, say around $45 to $50 a barrel. I think that's about fair, given the situation we find ourselves in now. Yes, we're seeing Russia pumping at all-time highs, Saudi Arabia pumping at around all-time highs, a number of other countries within OPEC doing the same. But I think the fact that the US market, the shale market, has calmed down a little, has enabled oil prices to rebound from those $28 lows to find a more sustainable level. We've seen the decline in oil production in the US stabilise over the last few months since the start of July. We haven't seen a rebound as of yet, although we have seen oil rigs coming back online, which may suggest that towards the end of the year and going into 2017, we may see US oil production pick up. And if we don't have a deal between OPEC and Russia in that time, then that's when we may see oil prices starting to head south again. But for now, I do think we have found the fair value for oil prices.
The oil prices, how they're trading throughout the day as that meeting continues in Algiers, and we'll be bringing you the latest later on in the program.
All right, many thanks for that, Kate Moody.